Winter is coming. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick, sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and you will not miss another episode. Winter is coming. For those die-hard GOT fans, this phrase is very familiar, right? And for those who are wondering what GOT is and what is all the fuss about, well, it's the famous series on HBO, Game of Thrones. At one point in time, the series created an hysteria of sorts, with fans waiting anxiously for the next episode and the endless discussions and debates on the actions taken by the different characters, and of course, the awesome unpredictability. Yes, okay, I call it the awesome unpredictability. Anything could happen at any time. Key characters just got killed without any forewarning. Totally shocking at the time. And all of us watched were like, what just happened? And, what's going on? And what's likely to happen next? And then, of course, the famous sentence, winter is coming. After some time, I was like, when will this winter actually come? Well, isn't change like that? What I mean is, there are predictable changes and then there are the unpredictable changes as well. Both are essential for our lives, our growth, and for our happiness. And when it's awesomely unpredictable, well, that's something else altogether. Like, for example, the COVID 19 pandemic. Who would have imagined that the world would come to a standstill? The journey I took from West Africa to the US during 2020 was surreal in so many ways. Empty airports, zero lines for immigration, no shops or restaurants were open. I have to say, I'm a seasoned traveler, and at one time, I think I spent more time in the airports than in one place. And I have never ever seen airports so quiet. It was bizarre. Nothing of all this was anticipated, right? But out of that unpredictability came the start of something new. We are now calling it the pre-COVID times, and at some point in future we will call it the post-COVID era. The world will never be the same again. We can actually already feel it and know it. Now we all just need to accept it. So, as I said, there are many predictable changes that we live and enjoy, and that makes our life richer. Just think about it. In many parts of the world, winter is actually coming in, and we have so much to look forward to. Out comes our new wardrobe, the lovely woolens, the boots, the coats, and then the food. Some foods are best enjoyed in the winter. Like in my hometown, we had this amazing hot milk that was slowly cooked to a creamy perfection with lots of dry fruits. And sipping that in cold weather was like just fantastic. We would wait for winters just for that hot milk. And then, how we can forget the sports? Winter brings with it the fun of skiing, ice skating, snow tubing, sledging. The list is endless, and of course, snow fights and making snowmen together. The first time one experiences snow, it's a magical feeling. Everything turns white, seems untouched, and then you walk in the snow and create your own path. Almost makes one feel like it's the start of something new. Well, snow reminds me of Nagano. Almost 16 years back, I was privileged to attend the Special Olympics in Japan in the city of Nagano. The temperature there was minus 20 or thereabouts. This was an important milestone as it was the first time that the Special Olympics was held in Asia. Nagano became the first city in the world to host the Olympics, Paralympics, and Special Olympics World Games. I was a resource person at the Special Olympics working with the dental team in supporting the participating athletes with their mouth hygiene and well being. You know, the Special Olympics is the world's largest sports organization for children and adults with intellectual disabilities and physical disabilities, providing year round training and activities to 5 billion participants and unified sports partners in 172 countries. For me, the days spent in Nagano will always be etched in my mind. The human spirit, the resilience, grit, and determination were all there as children and adults with special abilities participated in the games. And of course, experiencing Japan, where everything ran like clockwork, was another experience altogether. The opportunity to participate in these Special Olympics was another chance encounter and something that wasn't planned or predicted. Remember the unpredictable changes? Well, at the time, I was experiencing a series of these unpredictable changes in my life. Career shifts, starting something from scratch, building alliances and partnerships, and through one of these partnerships came this opportunity. So you see, oftentimes the unpredictable changes bring with them life changing experiences, right? I'm sure all of us have many stories to tell on these changes that we have all experienced. We often get so caught up in our lives that we don't make time to reflect on these events. Putting together these podcasts has given me and my family an opportunity to do so. I often think of life as a journey, almost, like one takes a long train journey. As a child, I was fascinated by trains and to some extent still am. It's an amazing mode of transportation, not just taking you from point A to point B, but giving you a zillion of experiences along the way. The people we meet, the stations we stop at, people getting in and getting out, the change of scenery as the train makes its way through mountains, over bridges, inside tunnels. And with life, it's the same. Changes come and go. Some can be dark like the tunnels, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and in life too. Change brings with it new opportunity. It's just how one experiences it that makes the difference. If one thinks of it like a train journey, we realize that nothing is final. There's constant movement until you reach your final destination. So, if being born was the start of the journey, death is the final destination, and along the way come the stops, the experiences, the change of course, people coming and going, some staying throughout the journey, and some getting off and on. As a family, we have moved many times over the years and are soon embarking on another move, our 21st. We don't know how it will be, and we are pretty sure there are going to be some rough patches for sure. But the trick here, fellow Mavericks, is to just go with the flow. Roll up your sleeves and just do what needs to be done. And here's a tip: when the change comes, ask yourself, what am I not seeing? What is the not so obvious thing here? What's that silver lining in the dark clouds that may not be immediately apparent? And thus focus on that. COVID 19 did that. The pandemic brought a wave of unpredictable changes in all our lives. It was very tough for me too, and for all of us in the family. Took us time. We had to dig deep into our resilience bank. Yes, just like the memory bank, the humor bank that I've already spoken about, you should have a resilience bank and tap into it when things are not quite right. For me personally, I had new experiences, embraced changes that in many ways has made me richer. For example, I focused more on my passion for singing. What started off as just being a good sport and singing in a musical evening, organized by close family, turned into a flaring passion that has helped me tremendously and also given me and my family and friends hours and hours of entertainment. I've come to know more people, participated in different get togethers, and built new bonds of friendship. And of course, how can I not mention the podcast? The Ordinary Maverick was conceived and put together as a family during the lockdown period of COVID 19. Oh, that brings another change to my mind. The one that's instant. Everything changes in a flash. We often remember that episode in our family when my wife and daughters, who were really tiny tots that time, just 3 and 4 years old, were traveling from India to the US, transiting via London. There was a change of aircraft at London, and at the time one had to show passports and visas during transit as you moved from one plane to the other. Well, imagine the horror when one passport was missing. Yes, it was my daughter's passport and it wasn't there. We knew it was definitely there during the boarding first leg of the flight, checked while entering the plane. So now in London, where is it? Then my wife remembered that her bag had fallen down just before deplaning, and possibly the passport must have dropped out then. Although they had checked and there was nothing on the floor, and also the count of the passports was correct. Little realizing that an old passport was also there and was mistakenly being counted in. In any case, my daughter's passport was missing and they couldn't catch the connecting flight to the US. Moreover, they couldn't travel to the US without a passport. So a new passport would need to be issued at the Indian High Commission in London. It sounds all terrible, but we managed. My wife quickly took a day's visa, negotiating that our daughters get the consideration as a dependent, and left the airport to get to the Indian High Commission to issue a new passport. She called me from the airport payphone. Those days, we didn't have the ease of mobile phones. I was in India and tried doing my bit by following up with a contact in the External Affairs Ministry for help. However, by the time my wife and daughters reached the embassy, the airline had found the passport in the plane while cleaning. So they went back to the airport, caught the next flight to New York, had to spend a night in the hotel, and as there were no rooms, got a suite which had a sunken bathtub in the room. The reason all of this is so fresh in our memories, even after 2 decades, is that we made it like an adventure for the girls, without stressing and telling them, wow, we got to drive through London and experience a spa, a massive bathtub in the room itself. So here is another tip. When change comes, the way it's handled has a lasting impression, particularly on the little ones. That day, when everything was going wrong, we approached it with calm and fortitude and just did what needed to be done without going crazy. In fact, we turned it into an adventure for the girls and made them feel special driving through the streets of London in one of the big black famous London cabs, as well as enjoying the sunken tub. Didn't realize it at the time, but this has resulted in our girls keeping their cool when unexpected changes take place, especially with travel. And we saw our elder one calmly negotiate a day's pass and explore London when a flight got delayed and she missed her connection. We got a call from her saying, "Don't worry, I missed the connection, but I'm going out to explore London as a bonus." So, fellow Mavericks, nothing is final. Remember that. Change takes place. Unpredictable, predictable, instant, whatever. The sun always comes out after the storm. Just go with the flow and enjoy the journey. Write in your comments, share your feedback. I would love to hear from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day. Keep well, stay safe.